Charlie Crist comes to the gayest place on planet Earth. This afternoon, Florida Gubernatorial candidate Congressman Charlie Crist came to Wilton Manors for a major announcement. Florida's leading LGBTQ+ civil rights organizations hosted a press conference to announce they unanimously have endorsed Crist in his race against sitting governor and likely presidential candidate Ron DeSantis. Held at the Equity Florida offices in Wilton Manors, Senior Political Director Joe Saunders laid out the critical time the Florida LGBTQ+ community was and is facing. Each LGBTQ+ advocacy organization leader participated in the announcement of unanimous endorsement in Florida. This included co-founder of Equality Florida Stratton Politzer, SAVE Executive Director Orlando Gonzalez, President of the 21 statewide chapters of the Florida LGBTQ+ Democratic Caucus, Stephen Gaskell, and the HRC Regional Director, Ryan Wilson. Florida's LGBTQ+ leadership characterized DeSantis as the, quote, most anti-LGBTQ+ governor in America and an existential threat, there we go, to the LGBTQ+ community, end quote. The announcement was covered by all major members of media, including CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, and anchor John Hayden from SFGN. Happening Out Television Network's anchor Al Ferguson asked Crist the first question about his expectations from the LGBTQ+ community, leading up to the November 8th midterm elections. Beyond voting, Crist described for the first time speaking to the LGBTQ+ community about getting involved in the election personally. This historic press conference is believed to be the first of its kind for the election of governor and to be held in the heart of Florida's LGBTQ+ community and with all the major LGBTQ+ civil rights organizations participating in a joint endorsement. Tomorrow we will show you an exclusive interview with Queer News Tonight anchor Al Ferguson and those directors. Wow. I think it's a fabulous thing that all the organizations came together under this one umbrella to do this thing. Because I really think the primary thing that we're really doing there with Crist is really being very just anti-DeSantis. Mm-hmm. That's my feeling about it. Yeah. I mean, I think Crist is, I like him.
Meaning that the community is moving as anti-DeSantis, but not pro.
Exactly.
I mean, I think we are being pro-Crist because we want to be, but we're first anti-DeSantis.
Okay. Well, you can't motivate people to the polls in that.
That's disturbing.
The problem.
Right. Anti feelings
don't work.
They don't.
Yeah, right.
And they don't win an election.
But don't you think it worked with Biden? I mean, that was a part of the win?
Well, yes.
Yeah, probably.
A part.
Yeah. A part.
Yeah.
But in the state of Florida, it's going to be really tough because there are a lot of Democrats who are still angry at Crist and don't even see him as a Democrat because he was
a Republican.
He was the Republican governor of Florida.
Yeah. But you know, it's incredible. We must have the cake, and the flavor of the cake must be exactly this, and the raspberry must be perfect, or otherwise I won't like the cake. Which it's a delicious cake, but I don't like it because of those reasons. Oh my goodness, to that observation. Charlie Crist, as a former Republican who hugged Obama in 2010.
He got so much crap for
and
that.
was destroyed from it and goes, wait, I can't be a part of the GOP anymore. And this issue, and this issue, and he was way ahead of the MAGA craze.
Right, exactly.
And people would hold that against him compared to Ron DeSantis.
Well, there's the anti-Ron DeSantis component.
Right.
But and as we said, you and I were both in that room today, and it was nice to see everybody there. And I'm not going to speak for you, and I do. There will be an article at least on South Florida Gay News online, probably by tomorrow.
And on stands tomorrow.
No, it may not be on stands because we go to print on Wednesday.
They go to print.
Yeah. So but it was important to get this story up. And I'm not going to speak for you. I'll just speak for me. I do address the reasons why we haven't really rallied around him. The LGBTQ Democratic Caucus that endorsed Nikki Fried 2-1. 2-1, less than 2 months ago. And I talked to Stephen Gaskell afterwards, and he said, whoever was going to win that primary, we were always going to coalesce and get around him. But the fact is, for me, from my perspective, and I've covered a lot. I've covered presidential announcements. I've covered rallies. I've interviewed sitting and a former president. I just felt no excitement. Today felt completely perfunctory.
Very bland.
It was important to have all the major LGBT groups coalesce. but I just didn't feel the love.
You didn't feel the excitement.
I did
And you don't feel
not.
the drama. People need drama.
We had Charlie, we had him with us at Miami Beach Pride, right?
Got
we
out
had-
of the parade.
He got off the float to sit down with me and Al, and then Al had an incredible interview with him. He was calm, cool, collective. He answered every question just very, very casually. Today, how did he look today? How was the demeanor? How did you feel him? Did you feel him like John, that you didn't feel the excitement?
Yes. Yeah. And the big moments of today were first that all of these organizations came together, intentional. That's news. That the gubernatorial candidate in Florida comes to Wilton Manors, to Equality, Florida, on Wilton Drive, is news. For an endorsement of all of the major unanimous LGBT civil rights organizations, that's news. But much beyond that, we've got a hill to climb. All of them clearly explain the situation we're in the LGBTQ community and what we must do. By the way, do you know the number one thing that we must do? We must vote.
Oh, right.
By the way,
Should I vote?
we've got to vote.
Right.
And I make the joke of it because at the end of the day, like our top story today, we're fighting smoke. We are fighting a brand new type of enemy, and we haven't had enough time yet to modify our positioning stance. It reminds me of Russia in February into the Ukraine, and they rolled over Ukraine, and it took a while and lots of allies to come together before Ukraine starts to stand up and then starts to push back and then starts to push out. That's what this kind of reminds me of. And to the point that I wouldn't go as far as John, although I do respect your opinion on it, but that's what we're facing, which is, where's the LGBTQ community? What we saw today is the former governor, congressman, running for governor against Ron DeSantis, is willing to come into Wilton Manors and stand right on Wilton Drive and go, I'm here. That's great. And all of our organizations come together and say, we unanimously endorse. That's great. The problem of this equation is then, John's, we need to get to 3. And one of them is the governor, the former governor, and one of them is our advocacy organizations. But the third one to get to 3 that we need is us.
Right.
And that, I think, is John's point. There's no enthusiasm.
Yeah. And I think that this has been, the Democrats for a while now have had a really hard time with coming up with candidates who people get excited about.
I'm so confused about it. Fay and I have talked about this 1,000 times. All of us really have talked about it over and over again. If this was 2012 going into that election, and we were facing a governor that had done what he has done in the last 2 years, we would be rioting in the streets.
We would be galvanized.
Absolutely,
We would be
yeah.
We
galvanized.
would be galvanized. If it was saved and that vote in 2002, Miami-Dade County was galvanized over what
Absolutely.
they tried to do.
Yep.
When Anita Bryant in 1976 did what she did, we pushed the pie in her face because we were galvanized.
Right.
What's
Where's the pie now?
happening?
Where is the pie now?
Where is the pie?
I ate it.
I just have one more thing to say, existential. I can say the word, existential. I can say it.
And one more thing, if you do want to see Governor Crist's remarks, you can see them on my Facebook page, John Hayden.
Okay.
Please feel free to go there and have a look, because what he said is definitely worth hearing.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the interview
And we're
tomorrow,
going to
right?
have the whole interview tomorrow.
All right.
So you can watch it on John's Facebook page or on Queer News tonight.
Tomorrow.
Watch it on Queer News tonight.
Yes.
Watch it on Queer News tonight.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.